Breaking news, the Crusade forces have been broken. The Second Crusade is over and the armies of Europe are headed home. What began as a military campaign against the city of Edessa was quickly sidetracked as the Islamic defenders have been winning in ambush skirmishes along the roads throughout the Middle East. Without the numbers to take the strategic hub, the Crusaders turned to capture the city of Damascus, which has been providing food for the Muslim armies during the First and Second Crusade. If they couldn't defeat the armies, they would try to starve them out. This is CNN, the Crusading News Network. Stay tuned for the full report. The year is 1148, and we have breaking news that on this day, the 29th of July, the Crusade troops have retreated. The Second Crusade, which started in 1147, has met its end as the numbers and leadership of the Crusaders were broken during the last few days of fighting. Starting on the 23rd of July in the year of our Lord, the Crusaders began the siege of Damascus. The attackers of the city of Damascus were the Crusaders, led by Baldwin III, King of Jerusalem, and his Knights Templar and Knights Hospitals. He was joined by Frederick of Swabia, Edward de Barris, and Ramon de Puy from the Holy Roman Empire, Conrad of Germany, Louis VII of France, and Thierry, Count of Flanders, along with 30,000 to 50,000 troops. They squared off against the defenders of the city. The Bourdes, led by Mu'in al-Din Unar, and later supported by the Zangid forces led by Saif ad-Din Ghanzi and Nawar ad-Din Ghanzi, along with upwards of 10,000 troops. The Crusaders were led by mounted knights with lances and swords, infantry wearing chainmail, brandishing spears and kite shields, being supported by archers. The defenders used crossbows, bow and arrows, and javelins, and when needed, small rounded shields and scimitars. We now go live to our on-the-scene reporter. We're live in front of the city of Damascus.
It's only a model.
Shh. As we can see, the Crusade forces first had to take the lands to the north and to the west of the city, also known as the Orchard Fields. Now this land has been used to feed the Caliphate armies during the First and Second Crusade. It was a long-fought battle in which the defenders, from towers like the one you see behind me, throughout the field rained down volleys of arrows, bolts, and javelins upon the attackers. Things looked bleak for the crusading army until Conrad of Germany led a charge that broke the defenders, forcing them to retreat inside the city walls. The next day, the Islamic defenders launched a counterattack, which drove the attackers away from the city walls and back into the orchard, causing more Crusader casualties, but not without great loss of three noted religious Islamic defenders, a religious scholar, a noble, and a war hero. But on July 26, reinforcements came for the defending armies and helped drive the Crusaders out of the north and in around the city to the plains on the eastern side. Now these plains had very little food and water. At this point, the Crusaders had to make the decision whether they could take the city or not. After a lot of infighting, they decided to break their siege. Back to you. Thank you so much. After the reinforcements arrived, infighting about control of the city of Damascus started amongst the Crusader camps. This led to a collapse of the siege when the leaders could not decide who would take leadership of the city, and they would rather not take the city instead of giving it over to the courts. In the end, many more Crusaders were lost than the Islamic defenders. The Second Crusade ended after the nobles declared that they could not trust each other if they could not make a decision about who could control the city. Some infighting began amongst the different nobles of the Islamic side as well, as Nur ad-Din and Saif ad-Din both wanted control of Damascus for saving Unar. Nur ad-Din, a staunch anti-Crusader, eventually was given control of the city in case the Crusaders were to ever form and attack it again. This has been a breaking news update, and once again, thank you for joining the Crusading News Network.